I gave you a chance to experience it. You sat in the sim, you took off, you circled around Port of Spain, you went around the Twin Towers,
Yep.
you saw the controls, you dropped the flaps, you raised the flaps.
Hi, Jason. Welcome to the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast. How are you going?
I'm good, I'm good. Great to be here. So what's up? How can I help you today?
not too bad. Why don't we get things started? And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners?
Right, so my name is Jason Wallen. I am the director and probably one of the instructors, if you want, at a small company called Virtual Flight. What we do at Virtual Flight is we aspire to bring the hobby of flight simulation or the hobby of home piloting to Trinidad and Tobago and hopefully to the Caribbean. So we have, right now I think we have four flight simulators of various designs that we carry. We've been very popular with the schools. We've carried them to schools, churches, community centers, that sort of thing. A couple of places had summer, Easter, and Christmas camps. They called us. We carried down the simulators for a day. And, what we did basically was taught the kids how to fly a Cessna C-172 in our simulator.
That's cool, man. So how did you get started in the world of flight simulators?
Well, that's actually funny, because my father, he was an air traffic controller. And then, in civil aviation, Trinidad and Tobago Civil Aviation Authority. And then he moved on to, I believe it was a flight safety inspector. But, for as long as I could remember, before I was born, Dad worked for civil aviation.
Okay.
And at his office, I believe it was in the early 90s when the radar center was built at Piarco. He was stationed there, and his office computer had Microsoft Flight Sim 2 on it, which is like, I think I sent you a screenshot so you could show them the graphics, And I spent, because sometimes during the holidays, I would go with Dad to work, or, if we didn't have school on a particular day, I would spend the day at work with Dad. And it was one of those, do your homework, and then you could go on the computer and play. And one of the things I found on the computer was Microsoft Flight Sim, and that got me into it. It was always a dream of mine to become a commercial pilot, and it was something that I never achieved. I mean, due to all kind of external factors. But the love for aviation has never left me, and I was fortunate enough to still undergo some training. So what I want to do is pass on this love of flight simulations and hobbying. And it's not only about the programs, about the flight simulators. You actually feel a sense of accomplishment building the sims itself. I mean, you came and you saw our major sim, the Alpha series.
All right.
That was built by hand. And when I say by hand, it was built, we bought a small computer desk, and we took a hammer, screwdrivers, no nails, saws, and we cut and we shaped the wood. We had a 3D printer home, so we 3D printed a lot of the panels and stuff ourselves. And what you know as the Alpha series was actually a series of trial and errors. So it was something that we saw grow and evolve, that, one day we think, hey, we finished. And then, you tell yourself, no, we could upgrade this, or we could do this, or make this part more comfortable. And it was like watching a child grow up. When I was at university and we were doing our dissertations, that was one of the things one of our professors would say. Because we had when we were doing our final dissertation, we had a dissertation supervisor, which was a professor, and we would show him the paper, what we were doing on our final project. And he said he loves to see a dissertation like that. So when he reads the final dissertation, he has a strong idea what we're talking about. Because, he saw the drafts, and it was the same thing with the simulators, The flight simulators basically started with a laptop and one little joystick. And now we have this big thing that we saw grow. We went on the internet, we bought parts, we saved, we sacrificed. And it was a great joy watching the Alpha series come into its own.
And I'm sure you're very, very proud of putting it together and where it has come from. You see, it started at one joystick to what I experienced with it.
Yeah.
It would have grown a lot. So you would have been the one to do all the system integrations, because when I sat in front of it, you have all your buttons, you have all the knobs, you have all the switches, you have all the gauges and dials and everything. So some of them on screens and some of them on other.
The objective of my objective when I was building the Alpha series is that an actual pilot could actually sit in it and he doesn't have to take the mouse and point and click at a dial. So we bought the radio panels, we bought the autopilot panels, we bought the flight switch panels with working landing gear. We integrated 2 tablets. One is actually a primary flight display with all both the engine parameters and the flight parameters, airspeed, altitude, that sort of thing. The second tablet we use basically as a nav screen. And recently, you did not experience it, we have incorporated iPad to work as an operation station. So as an instructor station. So I could actually come on my iPad and I could give you a bird strike.
Right.
Without having to interrupt your flight, without having to take the mouse and click on something on your screen. The iPad works as a remote, so I could give you a bird strike. I could give you engine failure. I could monitor your parameters. I could tell you if you're overspeeding and everything. So once again, we always looking to upgrade the experience. So like I said, the objective was to get an actual pilot to come in and sit down and he could say, yeah, okay, so I have the throttle, I have the rudder pedals, I have the yoke, I have trim, I have electric trim, I have the manual trim, the trim wheel. So we wanted to make it as hands-on as possible without having, the only thing you have to point and click for is to shut down the computer.
Right, okay. And you said that you have been carrying this, and so far you've done a couple programs with some schools and stuff like that?
Yes.
How has that been received by the schools?
The kids love it. Sometimes the kids love it a little too much, because when you have to tell them, okay, we need to give somebody else a chance, they're like, no. Yes, but they do love it, and we're glad to see that they are developing the love for it, because the first thing they ask me is, how much would one of this cost if I want to build one at home? Or where do I get the program? Or where and parents would ask me these questions. How did you build this? Where did you build this? Where did you get these things? And I told them one of the services we offer too is we do IT service, so we could actually build a tower for you that could run a flight sim program. If you want, we could actually even build a flight simulator for you similar to the Alpha series. It's going to cost probably around $20,000 and probably take about 6 weeks by the time we order and ship everything and put it up together. But those are the services that we offer. So I tell parents that. I say we could build the computers for you. And the funny thing about the Alpha series is that the Alpha series started off with a laptop. And the laptop was a bit laggy for the program we were running. Kids wouldn't notice the lag, but an actual pilot sat in it at a time and he was like, this computer is slow, you guys really, this is a good thing, but you guys need to upgrade the computer.
Right.
And less than a month later, I went out, and once again, it's a sacrifice, when you want to go and hang out with friends.
Okay.
And you had to tell yourself, nah, boy, the hanging out could wait, And when he told me that, once again, my objective being to give these kids and give people the best experience possible.
Right.
I went and I found a gaming system, and I spent the money and I bought a gaming system. So I immediately went, when he told me that, I immediately started looking at an upgrade. So I'm always looking to improve the experience. So maybe next time when you come and sit in the sim, it may be a little something different.
Okay. And that's good. Because me sitting in it, I wanted to get one. And that 20,000 you said, that is TT?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking, so they average around 3,000 US for everything. And
Yeah.
that would give you, that's at the higher end level. So that would be similar to the full sim with all the switches and the
Yeah.
yoke and everything.
That will be similar
Okay.
to the Alpha series. Now, one thing I have to make clear, and I have to keep making this clear to people, okay? So I'm actually glad that I'm getting a chance to say it on a sort of a quasi public forum. Virtual Flight is not a flight school.
Right.
We do not give hours. We don't do anything that can help you get a pilot license.
Right.
You
Understood.
understand? It's from the hobbyist point of view. Now, the Alpha series is actually, even though it's not FAA certified and up to FAA standards, if you are a private pilot or even a commercial pilot, you can actually sit in our Alpha series and still work on your instrument flying, still work on you could build hours in the sim. But unfortunately, they are not hours that you could say, I could go to civil aviation and get a pilot license.
Right.
But for practice purposes, because I do that, I sit in my sim and I do a lot of instrument flying. I put on the worst weather conditions. I use the Alpha Sim also comes with ATC. So you have air traffic control giving you instructions if you wish. And you have to follow air traffic control. They'll tell you, go to this runway, hold short, cleared for takeoff, maintain 4,000 feet, that sort of thing.
Right.
So as an actual pilot, you can practice your instrument flying.
So the software itself gives you a realistic experience.
You could change the scenarios in the flight sim from a bright sunny day to zero little visibility. You could fly VFR where you just take off and you just fly. You take off and you fly. No restrictions. Or you fly IFR where you follow instructions given by the onboard ATC.
Right.
So it's a great chance for everyone to practice a little something. I'm not sure if I could call his name, but a friend of mine who's a captain at Cal, he sat down in the sim and he put on a Boeing 737 and he did in our simulator circuit. He took off from Piarco, he did a circuit and he lined back up with Piarco and he enjoyed the experience.
Okay. Yeah? And you get to fly actual aircraft that are available, that actual pilots fly today.
Yes, the program is so versatile. I could actually go and there are those little websites where they give you free aircrafts and stuff where you could download, but you could actually purchase aircrafts.
Okay.
For like 20, 30 US, you could buy a 737 MAX, download it into the program, and fly it.
So we spoke about the higher end of getting into it. So that's at the full scale system. So that's about, let's say 3,000 US, 20,000 TT. What would be like your minimum point of entry into the hobby?
Boy, if you have your own computer and an internet connection, I would say about probably 50 US. Just buy a flight stick, 50 US.
Okay, all right. So it's that easy. Because I saw that you had some at the center where I came and I met you guys.
Now, that is 50 US because there are, that's not buying a program and installing it on a computer. Right. There is an actual flight sim program on the internet that you just type in the web address, and it's an online flight sim and it's an online community. Sometimes some friends and we go on that website and we don't even use our sims. We just plug in a joystick and we go on the website and we do group flights and that sort of thing.
Okay, and that's free?
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, what's the name of that simulator?
GEO.
GEO, right.
-fs.com.
Okay, no problem. So I'll leave a link to that.
Yeah, the graphics is not Explain 12 or Microsoft 2020, right. But it's still a good experience, it's still a decent, and that is how actually one of our sims started, with just a laptop, that website, and a flight stick.
Okay. All right. So for persons out there listening and looking for a way to get into the hobby world of flight simulation as a good free option, it's a cheap option to start with.
It's a good free option to start with because let's be honest, you don't want to imagine you spend $10,000 in equipment and then you decide, well, you know what, I really don't like this hobby. I really don't see what the big deal is. You know, at least the GUFS is a nice free option to, get your feet wet.
Right.
And this is what's going to happen. Once this flight sim bug bites you, I don't think there's a cure for it. Because what happened is, let's go back to, remember I talked about Microsoft Flight Sim 2 on my father's computer. That was flying with a keyboard. With a keyboard. So you had to press this to lower flaps. You had to do this. You're using the arrow keys to control the ailerons and pitch and yaw and that sort of thing. And then what happened was, you want to graduate from keyboard to flight stick. So you go on Amazon now, you buy a flight stick. Then all of a sudden, you want the rudder pedals now. Okay, you want to keep improving the experience.
Yeah,
and that's what happened to me. It's like, I bought this part. I'm going to buy the part. I'm like a child on Christmas. I come home and I set it up and plug it in and start a video, record it, and I send it to my girlfriend on WhatsApp and like, look, the part working. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, but time to do this, time to get that. So every couple of months we just kept buying parts, and that's how the Alpha series built. We're actually looking at upgrading the other sims too, but we still want to keep one sim just stick alone. Because that's for the smaller kids, the babies, the little 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds who may not be able to reach the rudder pedals. And for them, all they want to do is just this.
All right. So what age group does the does your simulation experience cater to?
I would say like older kids, teenagers, adults. Older kids meaning like probably 8 and up. We have put smaller kids on the sim sometimes, let's be honest, the kids, you watch across over there and you see this little flight stick. Just this one flight stick. And then you look across at the Alpha series and you're seeing all these buttons and everything lights up and everything. Let's be honest, which sim you want to go on?
Yeah, they want to go on press buttons.
So yeah, they want to go on press buttons. So, sometimes we have them on the Alpha series, but I'm standing up at the side with my foot on the rudder pedal.
Okay.
And I'm helping them take off and that. So because, they want the best experience possible. I have actually heard preschoolers and little kids watch what I like to call the baby sim. And they just watch it and like, I don't want to fly on that. I want to fly on that. And you have to tell them, it's like, okay, what you going to do? You're going to tell the kids, no, you can't.
Yeah. So what does the experience look like when you get to one of these schools in terms of the kids and their flight experience, or anybody, not just the kids, so let's say the adults, the persons flying, what does that experience look like from sitting down behind the desk to when they get up?
Let's see how best I could answer that, boy. It's something that they look like they really enjoy. It's something different. It's, they do this thing every day in sequence. We go to school, we do this, we do that, then all of a sudden, boom, wait, this guy comes with flight sim. Oh, we're learning how to fly? And they really enjoy it. We even get the teachers and all to like, hey, even tell the adults, because virtual flight is also for the adults, For instance, like people like us. Like I said, I never got a chance to fulfill my commercial pilot dream. I don't know if you had similar, most people I know in aviation, in one form or the other, who are not pilots, had that pilot bug at a point in time.
Yeah, so maybe you wanted
to be a pilot too. And you know what? I gave you a chance to experience it. You sat in the sim, you took off, you circled around Port of Spain, you went around the Twin Towers, you know,
Yep.
you saw the controls, you dropped the flaps, you raised the flaps, you watch your airspeed, you learn how to read the instruments. So it's not only about just coming and having fun, it's also a learning experience because aviation day is not only about the sims. Remember, we had a library with
Mhm.
books that pilots use and study, student pilots study. Um, we had model airplanes. We had, I think, a nice hit is the 3D printed pilot wing. So we have a 3D printer, like I said,
Uh-huh.
and you know we printed the wings for the kids, and you know you give them a little quote unquote little graduation present. So you know once they take off and they do some flying and they land, you're like, hey, you know, you earn your wings today.
Yeah.
So it gives them a sense of accomplishment.
So we talk about some of these. So I know some of the steps that I went through and you walked me through when I was in the sim. So that experience is that step-by-step process is similar to what your everyday simulation experience is like when you go to the schools.
Yeah,
So,
basically, you know, we get them learning to do things in sequence, checklists, that sort of thing. Sometimes even for like the older persons, like for instance, like next time I could actually show you how to start the aircraft from cold and dark.
okay.
So which means the aircraft is dead. It's on the ground. And with the switch panels and stuff, you could actually turn on the master, turn on the battery, turn on the avionics, start the engine.
Okay. So you could get as detailed as you would exactly in real life.
The only thing you can't do, we can't simulate G forces yet,
It's right.
and you can't do certain things in the pre-flight checklist. Like I said, like one of the things you had to do was check the fuel. So there's a like suction cup thing that you stick in the wing, and it
Right.
shows the fuel, and that's a visual key to if you have the right fuel and all those sorts of things, or if there's water in the fuel and stuff. That's one of your pre-flight checks. Unfortunately, we can't do that in the sim. Unless you want me to like get a bottle of kerosene somewhere. But yes, we could start the aircraft from cold and dark. And any aircraft you want. I've done it with Cessnas and I've done it with 737s and 747s.
Okay. So your only limitations would be things that people have to do outside of the cockpit and physically.
Yeah, like
in the real
physically
world.
check the tire, make sure the tires are properly inflated.
Yeah.
With the Cessnas, I think you could actually go by the tail and just move the elevators and move the flaps by hand to make sure the flaps move freely. So those things in the pre-flight, we cannot do in the sim. But
Okay.
we could still follow certain things in the checklist. So some of the aircrafts that we actually have a checklist. And I think I had ran through some checklist stuff with you. Like when we took off, I tell you,
Yeah.
okay, set your throttle now to 75%. You want your
Yep.
climb speed at 70 knots, that sort of thing. You know, so you get them, once again, is to give them the most realistic experience without, like I said, the only thing we can't do yet, and I keep saying yet because it's something I'm looking into. One of the other plans we have is actually looking to build a motion sim.
Okay.
So, but that's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be a project, but God is good and we'll find a way. So the motion sim, I saw a lot of people on the internet and stuff, and you know, guys flying and they're turning and their seat is turning with the
Yeah. So what are any plans to incorporate things like VR into it?
Yes, we have plans to incorporate VR. Actually, we have an Oculus at home. I just haven't really gotten the time to sit down with it. So some of
Okay.
the future plans are VR. We are actually thinking about probably building, and you can thank Top Gun Maverick for this, probably 2 fighter sims, but we're going to network them together. So you could, so the next time you and I have a falling out, we go settle this in the air.
Right.
You know, you could have dog fights, you could go on bombing runs with your partner,
Okay.
that sort of thing. That's one of the ideas we have looking at. VR, motion simulations. That's another thing we are looking at.
Okay. So you have some work to do. You have some work coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years, we may actually get a FAA certified sim. And if we get a FAA certified sim, then you could now come and sit in that sim and log in your hours and actually have hours for your private pilot license.
But so I know you mentioned it before, and I just want to, for anybody who listening will be interested, just to make it clear to them, you don't have a certified sim, but it is as close as possible without being certified and being our actual pilots in the air.
So I'm not trying to sell anybody any dreams or anything, nor are we trying to con people or mislead people. So I'll be honest with you. What we have are basically glorified toys. Boys don't get older. The toys. I think boys don't grow up. The toys just get more expensive. So what we have is basically a glorified toy. There is nothing in our sim that you can't get online yourself. I'm being honest. We just put it together in our own fashion.
Okay.
So what we have is basically it's a glorified toy, but it's a useful. It can be you could treat it as a toy and come and just fly, or you can treat it as a tool and come and practice your maneuvers, practice your instrument flying, practice your night flying, your IFRs, your VFRs. So it's what you choose to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to look at it. You could treat it as just as a toy, or you could treat it as like one of those personal development tools if you know that being a pilot is something that you're young and you're trying to work towards. Is something that will give you that experience, at least so you'll know, you have some level of an idea of what it is you're getting into or what the experience will be like when you're sitting in the cockpit.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. And you have somebody, if you don't know what you're starting with, people could come to you and you can help them in building out the simulators.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also looking at starting up a flight sim club.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're gonna call it the Trinidad and Tobago Home Pilots Association, or probably the Home Pilots Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Some weird acronym. We'll figure it out. But no, the objective once again is to get people involved in the hobby. So we could come together. So obviously, I'm going to send you when you're ready to launch this thing. You're going to be part. You're going to send you an invite,
right?
And if you decide you want to join,
yeah,
and
definitely.
It's going to be a place for us to share knowledge. It's going to be a place for us. We could get together. We could, like I said, the objective is to bring. Because when I tell people about the hobby of home piloting, I think they watch me like I'm crazy. They're like, what? And then when you explain to them what it is, they still watch you like, oh, that's probably some rich person hobby, or, that's not for Trinidad.
Yeah.
Right? And my experiences out there, I would respectfully disagree with them, because when I go to a school, or when somebody calls me and say, I saw this on Instagram, or I saw this on Facebook, what it is about, and I tell them, they are like, oh my, that's cool, that's amazing, or the other reply would be, oh, we didn't know people were actually doing that in this country. So then you have the other side of the coin where people go to the extreme. So I remember one woman called me and said her 7-year-old son wants to be a pilot, and if he does, and I quote, if he does a course with you, and now we don't offer courses either,
right?
But if he does a course with you, will he be able to get a job in Caribbean Airlines? And I was just there like, what? And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, yeah, sure, Caribbean Airlines hire 7-year-old pilots all the time. But I told her, I said, well, miss, like I said, we're not a flight school. this is from the hobbyist point of view. And after I explained that to her, she was just like, okay, and she hung up. So
Yeah.
I guess we weren't. Maybe we weren't what she was looking for, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, this is from the hobbyist point of view. There's the satisfaction in learning how to fly. There's the satisfaction in building your own sim.
Uh-huh.
It helps you develop your imagination, your creativity, even your IT skills. Because like when we had to put together these computers and stuff, I had to kind of go back in my A+ notes from back in the day.
For persons who are looking at this or listening to this, because we do audio and video, and they want to get Virtual Flight Sim to come to, let's say, a career day or just come to the school for a day, what is the process and what is their cost for that?
Well, okay, so Aviation Day starts at 1200 TT for a period of 6 hours. And that's us bringing just one sim, the Alpha Series. Now, the Alpha Series sim could probably accommodate 20 to 25 people, maybe 30 people if we push it, in those 6 hours.
Okay.
You find us on Facebook and Instagram, Virtual Flight. My number is there on all our flyers and media. So when you call and you ask questions about Virtual Flight, it's basically me you're speaking to.
All right, no problem. And I'll make sure I'll leave the links to your social media in the description.
And we make a booking from there.
Okay, so I'll expect that you'd be a lot busier after this comes out. And actually, I've been seeing you online and you look pretty busy right now. So we need to get some more people on deck.
Well, actually, this week was like a little vacation because last week we had, I think, 2 or 3 clients, and then this week was like,
sometimes you need that, though.
Yeah, you need the downtime.
Yeah.
The downtime is good too because it gives me a chance to because sometimes I have an idea in my head for months and I just don't get the chance to follow up on it because of how busy we could get sometimes. Because it's not only the Virtual Flight, we also have a martial arts academy.
Okay.
With branches throughout the East-West corridor and South.
So you want to go out and you want to go ahead and give people the name on the social media in case anybody interested one time?
Yeah, Diamond System Martial Arts Academy. We have branches in Claxon Bay, Arima, Tacarigua, Maloney, that sort of thing. Diamond System Martial Arts Academy. So to cycle back to what I was saying, sometimes, it's just, I'm just so busy. And for weeks, I'm telling myself, this is an upgrade I want to do on the sim. And I'm just not getting a time to do it. And when I get the downgrade time, the downtime, that's when I run downstairs in the storeroom and grab hammers and saws and drill bits.
Yeah, take advantage of the free time that you get when you get it.
Take advantage of the free time, And then when you finish the upgrade, you have to test the upgrade because you don't want to go by a client and things don't work.
All right.
And sometimes this gentleman named Murphy just likes to show up at the worst possible times. Like what happened, even in Tacarigua, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the mouse working all the time. Oh, why is the mouse not working? And we plugged in the mouse into every other computer. The mouse just decided today.
No, we can.
But I mean, we have, right now, home by me, my bedroom is my workshop.
Okay.
We don't have a physical office as yet. I do all my work in my bedroom. Sometimes I have to move it to my garage if I need more space.
Right.
I have a bag home full of extra SIM parts and wiring and all those sorts of things.
All that's part of your life, yes. I have
all that's part of it, yeah.
You want to see my drone workbench here,
Boy, I think I even have a drone in the storeroom somewhere, Sometimes I just go in that storeroom and I find things that I didn't even know we had. I don't know what Dad has been doing when he was alive with that storeroom. I think you might even find the treasure of Cortez there or something. Sometimes you clean in the storeroom and then also, we have this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. So keep up the good work, because I actually came across Virtual Flight Trinidad on another page. You guys, the SAC Modelers page. I think you did a program with one of the colleges in Port of Spain.
Big up to them. That was the Fatima Aviation. I don't know if it's the Aviation Crew or Aviation Club.
Yeah.
So, like, shout out. Those guys were amazing. We did I carried a sim for them.
Okay.
And I'll be quite honest with you, they did all the work.
Okay.
I think all I did was just put the sim together and take it apart. Their instructor at the Fatima Aviation Club is top notch. Those guys, all the kids just needed to know is what these switches do on the panels. They already knew, listen, we fly in a Cessna, I need to set flaps 10, I need to take off at 55, I need to climb at 75 knots. And the kids, I didn't have to explain anything to them.
Okay.
Usually, one of the first things we do in aviation days, we have a small back and forth. Where I would hold a model aircraft and explain to them the parts of the aircraft. We would explain the 4 forces of flight, pitch, roll. 4 forces of flight: thrust, drag, lift, and weight. 3 axes of motion. For Fatima Aviation Club, I did not have to do any of that. Those guys already knew.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's good.
I really want to see good things from them. Right now we have to get some things going for them, because they need a sim built. So we have to do some sort of fundraising or get some sort of sponsorship for them, because those kids are doing good work. I had actually loaned them a simulator for Fatima's recently. They had a Mayfest. Is that what they're calling it now? Mayfest, one of those.
No idea.
No idea, but it's one of those Mayfair. Sorry, I just got corrected by the wife. So Fatima recently had their Mayfair, and I loaned the Aviation Club one of my computers so they could have run a small, because they have the peripherals already. What they're just missing is a decent computer.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't give them any of my computers because I'm stretched thin as is already.
But are there any other clubs that you know of similar to the Fatima Aviation Club?
I honestly don't know. I reached out to the Light Airplane Club of Trinidad and Tobago, but the gentleman, I guess he's super busy. Haven't heard back from him. Okay. There is another company, but not a club. There is another company. I think they have a big 737 sim.
Okay.
But we're mobile, so we go to our clients.
Okay. All right.
But any other club schools that I don't know if any other school actually has an aviation club, and I think that should be something, because I teach after school karate, and I remember a time I told a pilot this already. Parents are willing to pay for after school karate, after school cricket, after school football, netball, gymnastics. Why not after school flight training?
Not a bad idea.
Why not after school drone? Let's be honest, the kids nowadays, they need something. Not everybody is going to become doctors, lawyers, pilots, or something, but they need something to channel their energy.
Yeah.
And I think each generation is getting a little more and more, I don't know if wild is the word to use, but they need something to focus their energy on. So we need after school programs or in school programs that could give the kids something positive to focus on.
Yeah.
And so like I told them, we have after school karate, after school thing. Why not after school flight training?
Well, maybe after Fatima gets their sim sorted out, other schools will take city initiative and join them in that.
Yeah. I'm actually in discussion with a couple of primary schools and stuff for it.
Right.
But the difficult part is logistics. Because it's to build a computer, keep it there, the security of the computer, security as in stuff. I wouldn't want somebody, because people weird. I wouldn't want somebody taking a computer I built and using it for another purpose that I did not build it for. And you know, when it comes to plugging the SIM, the computer have a virus on it and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and you know, so the hardest thing about this right now is logistics, but we'll find a way.
That's cool, man. And Jason, I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon. I know we've already recorded this episode late, so I just want to thank you for your time.
That is no problem. I was not even aware of the time. And actually, if you didn't shut me down, I would probably be talking all night.
No worries, man. So
when I get me talking about flight sim, I don't shut up. Eh?
I see like you're getting a look there.
Hold on, let me check and see. Nah, she watching TV. She had time for me. No, I tell you, when the bug hits you, Alan, when you say you sit down in the flight sim and now you want one?
Yeah, most definitely.
And I tell you, it's going to happen simple. You're going to start simple. You're going to go on GUFS and fly on your keyboard. Then you're going to spend some money and
I have a flight sticker. I have a joystick already.
Oh, you have your joystick already? Well, show off now. Well, after your joystick, you go on rudder pedals. Then you go on switching panels. Then you'll want this and that. And then one day, you will wake up and find that the flight sim has taken up half your bedroom.
Hey, let's not go there because drones and drone parts are already as expensive as it is, right?
It was a real pleasure being here.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on. So I will leave links to all your contacts and socials in the description so everybody can get one to you. And all the best with the future endeavors, and I'll see you again soon.
Yeah. We have to get together and do something, you know.
All right. Take care.
Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.